Hey, welcome back to another episode of the She's Making an Impact podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Ngom. I love the conversation that we're having today. It is with one of our Activate coaches, Mindi Huebner. I was just telling her after we finished the interview, I started to cry just how much I adore her as a human. She's the real deal of someone who has such a big heart for helping people, and she's making an impact and making it happen. And I just love having her a part of Activate as one of our coaches, and she's amazing. So let me give you a little bit of her bio. She's a certified Neuro Linguistic Programming practitioner, a certified health, life, and success coach, and clinical hypnotherapist. She's been an entrepreneur for over 25 years. You wouldn't know that though, because she looks like she's 25 years old. I don't know how she does it. Mindi knows unlocking your magic is the key to creating an extraordinary business and life. Helping women create massive change through small shifts in thoughts, habits, and beliefs is her number one mission. She's an author, speaker, coach, mentor, and difference maker. When she's not meditating or out for a run, you'll find her sipping on a smoothie and planning her next trip to the beach. We are talking all about mindset, your limiting beliefs, how to get unstuck, and giving you some really great concrete examples. So you don't want to miss this. Let's dive in. Mindi, welcome to the show. How are you, darling?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
I am so excited you're here. We've already been chit-chatting for a little bit, and I adore you. You are just one of the awesomest humans ever. So I'm really excited to get you back on the podcast. Can you just introduce yourself to our audience, please?
Sure. Yep. I am Mindi Huebner. I'm an unlocker of magic. Ooh. I'm a mindset strategy coach for women in business, typically. And although I work with the occasional man, I work on habits and thoughts and why your brain does what it does and how you get to turn that around to make it your superpower so that you can release limiting beliefs and really make shifts to create the business and life that you were made for.
What are some of the things that you see people that causes them to get stuck? And then how do you get out of that?
Well, our brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on our beliefs. Mm-hmm. And so it won't do anything more than we believe that we can do. Now, let me just give you an example. This is the Bader-Meinhof theory. So I decide I'm going to buy this new little white car. I saw a picture of one, but I haven't seen one anywhere. It's so cute. I'm done some research. Oh, I'm going to get this little white car. I go to the car lot. I buy the white car. I drive off the car lot, and there's the same little white cars everywhere around me. So it wasn't even in my consciousness yet. And therefore I couldn't believe that other people had it, right? Until I saw it, then it was oh, so now I can see the white car. Well, it's the same thing with our beliefs and our limiting beliefs. Once we see them, then we can work on them. And typically our habits will show us where do we have a limiting belief and where don't we have a limiting belief. If we have a habit, which is also a belief of procrastination, or, I'm not smart enough, or I'm not good enough, those kinds of things, those are beliefs and habits. And we think a thought, it becomes a belief, our identity, as a matter of fact. And then we create habits to prove it to ourselves over and over and over again. And so finding those, realizing, okay, I'm stuck. Okay, well, what is causing you to be stuck? And while why is a great question, I try to stay away from why a lot of times, because why, then just the immediate answer is because, and then we tell a story about it instead of what makes me think this, what makes me feel that. And our beliefs typically are because we have given one meaning to something, to a circumstance, to an encounter, to something that someone said. We've given one meaning to it, and that's it. We've just decided that that's what it means, and therefore it can block us or stop us until we realize that there are lots of meanings for this one thing, and it doesn't have to be the negative meaning that we've given it.
I want to do this like a workshop style. Like I want people to
Okay.
walk away being able to do this to themselves. So can we give an example of
Sure.
like an event, like a hypothetical event that could happen, and then how we can look at it differently and come up with like find out what that limiting belief is and change it to a positive one.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
so let's use an example of like I just hosted a webinar and like nobody bought or nobody
Yeah.
showed up. So
Perfect.
what are yeah,
Perfect.
because who's ever had that experience? I know I haven't,
Never. No,
right?
that's never happened to me.
It's
Right.
happened to everyone. So I
Absolutely.
think I think let's start there if it's happened to everyone. So don't feel bad. So what are some of the negative beliefs that might happen when we do something like that?
Well, typically what we do is we give it one like fact. And so you get to ask yourself, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what's the belief? Um, Nobody will ever buy from me because no one bought this one, or nobody wants what I have, or I'm a failure, like whatever it is, the belief. And I usually dig a little deeper, like, is this really the belief? And we go a little deeper. So we find the belief on a scale of 1 to 10. If it's an 8, 9, or 10, we go, okay, so here's the belief, and this is the meaning. We take the circumstance. I say, okay, let's put it up on a movie screen. So now we've got failed webinar launch, right? No one bought, whatever the circumstances. And I also let them know, like, this memory is whole and complete. Like, you don't have to dive into the emotion of it. We can just look at it on a movie screen, right? In case they, it's a more upsetting sort of thing. So we look at it and say, okay, and what was the meaning? You gave the meaning of no one purchasing from this. One sticky note, we've got a yellow sticky note around this picture. No one will ever purchase from me, right? I'm a failure. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing in business, and I never will. Like, we get crazy with ourselves, right? It's just how we're wired, all of us, actually. And so then we say, okay, well, let's look at what are some other meanings that could be from this circumstance. So I have the client come up with some other meanings, and what we want the other meanings to be are positive. We want them to be able to move them forward, and a lesson that they can access in the future, so they'll come back to it, right? It's foundational building for them. So on a scale of 1 to 10, I believe it means I'll never sell anything to anyone ever. and this is my belief. Okay, well, what else could it mean? Well, it could mean that there was a better day or time that I could have, right? Like, I could do a little more research about when the best time for this particular kind of webinar is. It could mean, and we just walk through what are some other things that it could mean aside from I'll never sell anything. It could mean,
Okay, so
go ahead.
all of our impact makers that are listening, I want you to write this down. What else could this mean? That's a
Right.
really great question to ask yourself.
Because we give such immediate meanings without even thinking about it. And like, this is just a silly, really good example in case somebody's like, well, what do you mean? So I used to believe that when my husband left his dirty dishes on the counter, instead of putting them in the dishwasher, it meant he thought his time was more valuable than mine.
Oh,
Now, that's
yeah.
not very empowering, is it?
No.
No. And what does that do? Put me into a story, take my mood down, make me not be. And it was just like, this is what it means. Boom. Okay, well, that's just unrealistic. That's not what it, first of all, it's not what it means, right? There's a million other things. He got busy. He forgot. He meant to do it and then was doing something for me. Like, it could mean a million other things, right? So we really get to unpack, like, what else could this mean that's helpful to me, that will move me forward. And another meaning for having a webinar where no one comes or no one buys. Okay, well, this is opportunity for me, right, to rework my messaging. Maybe there was more in the messaging. Maybe I could have been more clear. Maybe and how about me? Did I practice? Did I show up, or did I wing it? Maybe this was good practice for me, and now I get to do it again and be in the identity of an entrepreneur who sells, an entrepreneur who knows that sales are service. because maybe
Yep.
I showed up nervous and not really believing in myself. And we know that that comes across, right? And there's no
Totally.
shame in that. That's how we grow.
Oh yeah. And I think as we share this, like not selling on a webinar, there's no shame there because I think every single person has been there where you've done an offer and it didn't land and you totally bombed it. Like, I
Absolutely.
don't know anyone that hasn't gone through that, but most people don't talk about it. And so when it happens, you're like, I suck. I'm all alone. I'm the only person in the world this has happened to. You're not alone. It's happened to everybody. So just know that. What else? What other limiting beliefs do you see that pop up most often that are keeping people stuck?
Well, to just finish up the meaning, like if you're going to give it
Yeah.
a new meaning, and then we'll go right into like really common ones that I see. Give it lots of more meanings. Like, what else could it mean? What else could it mean? What else could it mean? And exhaust yourself in the what else could it mean, so that you can then look at it and go, okay, is it a fact that this means I'll never sell anything again? No, it's just one meaning, and there's many meanings, and I'm going to choose one that's more empowering. And then you get to ask yourself, you get to do that check again. Okay, well, what's the new belief that I want to replace this with? Right? The new belief is like, I have lots of challenges and opportunities in my entrepreneurial journey, and this is just one. Yeah. Right? I mean, you can believe, you get to create one that's much more empowering for you, and I'll grow from them. And then you get to ask yourself again, that original belief on a scale of 1 to 10, what do I believe now? And when I work with clients, I get them to a 3 or lower, and then we know that no longer is a belief, and we've replaced it, and we get to work on other things that come up, other limiting beliefs. Awesome. And they get to put habits in place that support the new belief, the new, more empowering belief. Limiting beliefs that I see a lot, that they're a perfectionist, the imposter syndrome, which you and I have talked about this before, and have like 2 different ways of coming at imposter syndrome. Yeah. And so I think that's really helpful for people too. So imposter syndrome, or I'm not the expert, those types of pieces, and perfection or procrastination. Those are things that I run into all the time.
So how would you help someone get over those issues?
Well, perfection, we just dig into it like, well, what is being a perfectionist protecting you from is one of the questions. And they're like, yeah, well, it's protecting me from failure. Like, but is it? Because you're not doing anything because you're a perfectionist, right? You're not taking any chances. You're not putting any product out for people. You're not showing up live on camera. You're not doing any of those things. So is it protecting you from failure? Because you're not even succeeding at this point. Where is success and where is failure? And then what would happen if you no longer believed that you were a perfectionist? Like, lots of times we have beliefs that aren't ours. They were spoken over us. And, you know, we love our parents. They're doing the best they can with the tools that they have. And I have a friend who her parents spoke over her whole young life that she was shy. And so, of course, she grew up thinking she was very shy, and realized one day, like, no, I'm just very thoughtful before I'm not shy, actually. And that was a limiting belief that had been spoken over her. And so it can happen. The world can give us limiting beliefs about ourselves. Other people, without even realizing, in passing, can say something, and all of a sudden we adopt this belief. So we also get to, when we have any kind of limiting belief, procrastination, perfection, we get to say, well, where did this come from? What makes me believe this to be true? And what would get to open up for me if I no longer believed this? What could happen in my life if I no longer believed it? And that's how we dig out the procrastination and perfectionism, because procrastination also, we believe it's protecting us from failure, from being judged. You and I both know our work can be perfect and we're still going to get judged. And it's not always going to go the way we want it to go, right?
It won't. Like, you could put out the best stuff ever. Like, you could write the best book in the entire world, and you're still going to have critics that put you down. It's just the nature of actually showing up, putting yourself out there, and adding value. Not everyone's going to like it, and that's okay. Being okay with that. That's like the hard part of like, but everyone doesn't love me. No,
Right.
that's
And
okay.
we know
Yeah.
that's a really good thing, right? Attract and repel. If everyone loves you, that means your message is super watered down, right? And you're not really
Too
speaking
vanilla.
directly to anyone. Yeah, yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly.
So you're talking about habits. What are some empowering habits and disempowering habits?
Well, honestly, you get to look at your own life and ask yourself that question. But here's what you can step back and look at first is you think a thought, it becomes a belief and or an identity. So I'm a squirrel. Like I am very unfocused. Let's say that this is a thought that you think about yourself, and then it starts to become a belief in you. Like, and then you create habits to prove it to yourself over and over again.
Mm.
So what you get to ask yourself is, what are some things that you say after I am? Because these are some of the most powerful words in the world.
Yep.
And if you're saying like, I am a procrastinator, I am a perfectionist, I am even type A. So I recently had this whole new like epiphany with type A, and any sort of labels that we put on ourselves in that way. Why are we saying this about ourselves? Like, what makes us say this? And when we say it, are we empowered or disempowered? And so if you're saying, oh, I'm a type A, to make an excuse for some behaviors where maybe you're even like not kind or extra aggressive or anything like that that can go along, that's a little hyper type A, but can go along with that, then that's a disempowering habit that you have. And you're making basically excuses for your behavior, right? And you without even realizing it. And so ask yourself, like, what am I saying after I am? And then, okay, am I like, I'm a procrastinator. And then you'll look and you'll see a pile on your desk that you keep going, I'll get to that, I'll get to that, I'll get to that kind of a thing. Or I am an amazing time manager. Like, let's use something that you're saying positive about yourself. And then you'll see that if this is true, you have created habits to prove this to yourself. Now, maybe you're growing on the I am an amazing time manager. And so what you get to do to stop having habits that disprove that and start creating habits that do is getting those little baby wins. So any little win that you can get to prove it to your brain, because you've got a filter, you've got a RAS, right? And it's going to let through what you believe. And again, it deletes, distorts, your brain deletes, distorts, and generalizes based on what you believe. So as soon as you start proving to yourself, like, I'm a water drinker, and then I'm going to take a sip of water. Exactly. And then I say to my brain, see, I'm a water drinker. And at the end of the day, I've had 3 glasses of water, 10 glasses of water. And you can have a fabulous file where you write it down. You can keep track on a calendar. Your brain loves stuff like that. Like, look at us. We checked the box. We did the thing. And you can start small like that with proving it to yourself. And then you can see how we do one thing is how we do everything. And so we just start sticking it we start plugging it into all the other places.
So could we use this, for example, like to get fit? So if you're someone that hates exercise, could you start with like 2 minutes of exercise a day and then say, I am someone who is fit and exercises?
Yes. And your brain might say, you're not someone who's fit. Look at your body. You hate to exercise. So you can start even more neutral.
Okay.
I'm the kind of woman who can get fit and exercise. Like, I'm becoming the woman who, wherever is really comfortable for you, because not everyone's ready. Like, I am super comfortable saying, like, I'm a multimillionaire. Now, I am not a multimillionaire yet, but I am also very comfortable like acting as if. Now, a lot of people, there would be some major resistance. And so, okay, well, then you say, like, I'm a 50,000-aire or I'm $100-aire, right? Like, I've earned my first $100. And then whatever that looks like, a little resistance is great. We want you at a 4 or 5 on your comfort zone. If you're at a 10, you're just going to run the other way. In my experience with clients, like that's
Yeah.
not, we want them at a 4 or 5 so they can really be on the edge and step over. And then we put them at a 4 or 5 again, step over the edge kind of a thing, and really build their confidence and prove to themselves.
So we should be uncomfortable, but not so much where you're like, I don't even see that as a possibility. There's no freaking way I can actually do that.
In my experience, yes, absolutely.
And I'll share how I did that with myself. Because when I first started network marketing, I did not see myself as someone who could earn $1 million. It was like, I want to earn $500 a week. And I was 23? That was my big goal, like $500 a week. And once I hit that and I proved to myself I could, I'm like, ooh, all right, now my goal is to make $1,000 a week. Like I can totally do that. And then it was $2,000 a week. And then I started seeing the millionaires on stage and I was like, they did it. I can do it too. I can do it. Like, but it started small. I didn't say like right away, I'm a millionaire. Cause back then when I was 23, my brain was like, shut up. No, you're not. Like you're in grad school. You can't do that. But the small little incremental goals over time, like over the past decade, I'm like, oh, I've proven to myself and shown myself with those little things, I can do big things.
Exactly. And we call that moving the needle. Like I call that moving the needle with my clients. Like we want to just continually move the needle, because each small win, each little bit of proof, then it not only builds, like not only showing our brain, like, look at us, this builds our self-confidence and our self-esteem. It proves we can look back at our past self and go, hey, look at me, I showed up because here I am. Like I believed in myself and here I am. And then our future self can trust our present self to show up because we already have. So it's builds this whole self-esteem, self-confidence cycle that just keeps growing and growing when we can look back and prove it to ourselves.
So do you have like a specific morning or evening routine that people could implement that would really like set us up for success?
I do have a morning routine. I love to meditate. I know not everyone has a ton of time, or sometimes meditation, people are like, oh, I can't get quiet. I love guided meditation. And one of the things that I do every morning is mentally rehearse. And so this is Olympic level stuff.
Let's talk about that. I like it.
So if you want, to have a Olympic level business, gold medal business, right? This is one of the things that professional and Olympic athletes do, top performers, musicians, they mentally rehearse. Now I'm going to give you the secret sauce to mental rehearsal, but basically it is visualization on steroids. We not only see ourselves, like, let's just say having a great day, drinking water all day long. You used fitness, right? Let's say we want to exercise and we want to do it for 5 minutes in this first day. So I get up in the morning and the first thing that I do is I see myself exercising for 5 minutes. Now that's not all I see. I see it, I hear it. So I hear myself going, oh my gosh, 5 minutes. I don't know. Can I do 5 minutes? I got this. I hear music playing. I feel sweat on my body. I hear the other sounds that are going on. I smell whatever it is that I would be smelling. If I'm outside, maybe I smell the grass. If I'm, if you're me, then you sweat a lot. So you smell that. Like you totally embody yourself. What would I be seeing, hearing, tasting? Like my mouth is dry. I want some water. You completely embody who you want to be, because we're making an identity shift here and we're doing it in increments. So we see ourselves with the outcome that we want. And that's vital, is having a well-formed outcome in order to mentally rehearse. So I want to exercise for 5 minutes. Okay, great. I know what I want. This is how I'm going to feel. This is how I'm going to show up in it. See myself in the clothes I'm going to wear, like all of it. I mentally rehearse it. And I could mentally rehearse waking up, seeing the clothes laid out, putting them on, saying some affirmations, working out for the 5 minutes, putting a big red check mark on the calendar, taking a selfie, whatever it is that I'm going to do in that routine. I'm doing a couple things when I do this. One, I'm showing my brain, which doesn't know the difference between real and imagined, that this is who I am. And so when it comes time to do it, the brain's not like, oh, I don't know if we can do this. Cause it's like, oh, we've done this. We did this already.
Yep.
Like, we know how to do this.
Yep.
And we just keep building and building on that. Now, the secret sauce that I love for that, and then there's next level mental rehearsal too. So this is your well-formed outcome. It's your perfect outcome. And I mentally rehearse everything without even knowing it. I mentally rehearsed our interview here today, you know, all those kinds of things. So the secret sauce is getting in your of course energy. And the difference between being in your of course energy and not being in your of course energy. So there's wishy, hopey, like I hope, I wish, like, you know, you're high in your chest, and that already has disbelief in it. Like, I hope I get up in the morning and work out for 5 minutes. Okay, well, you know, as opposed to being in your of course energy. So I'm going to encourage you, anyone listening, to find some of course energy, and it's positive energy. It's not like, of course the baby woke me up. It's not that kind of, you know, negative of course energy. It's, of course, the very first thing I did when I got up was have a glass of water this morning. Like, I brushed my teeth and I drank a big glass of water. Of course I did. This is what I do. Of course I was on this Zoom for this podcast, right, at X time, because I'm on time for things. So of course I opened my laptop this morning after I did XYZ. Of course I kissed my kids goodbye. Like, get in your of course energy. So do you have some of course energy? Can you think of some of course energy for you? Like, that just is of course you're going to do this.
Ooh, of course I'm going to move my body, like in some way, shape, or form. That's
okay.
Like every day. Of course I do.
Okay.
Of course I cuddle my babies and
There you
tell
go.
them how much I love them.
Exactly. And maybe it's pet your dog, and maybe it's, of course, I get a cup of coffee. Like, that's okay.
Of course
too. You know,
I drink coffee in the morning.
There's nothing like, right? Like, of course and it doesn't, so I've had people want to get real technical. Like, I don't do the same thing every day. It's like, okay, get out of your head. We're just talking about, this is an automatic, of course. So it's kiss your husband goodbye. It's, you know, something empowering that you automatically do. And if you have to think about it, because you do it so automatically. So now we're in our of course energy. We're in our of course energy. Of course, I brushed my teeth as soon as I got up this morning, right? Of course. And now I'm going to copy and paste that of course energy into my mental rehearsal of working out for 5 minutes. So I'm not in this wishy, hopey, like maybe not. I'm in the, of course I'm going to do this. This is who I am becoming. Of course I'm going to do this. And it's a shift in your brain that why wouldn't I do this? Like, this is who I am. So not only are we mentally rehearsing it, we're, you know, seeing it, tasting it, hearing it, smelling it, like all the things as if it's actually happening. We are in our of course energy, which has no disbelief in it, right? Only belief in our ability and in the outcome. And we are creating this identity shift for ourselves when we do this. And so we're getting these little wins. We're proving to ourselves that we can do it. We're taking some of the fear and stress. So whatever you're mentally rehearsing, right? We're taking some of that fear and stress out of it, because we've already shown our brain like how it's going to be. It's going to be great. We're going to get hot and sweaty and feel great at the end and feel so proud of ourselves, or, you know, whatever it is that you're mentally rehearsing. And so this is one of my absolute practices all the time in my, of course, energy. And the next level, what athletes do, they mentally rehearse A, B, and C outcomes. So when you start with the perfect outcome, right? Like, here's what happens. You still get to have the end result be exactly what you want it to be. And you'll learn that sometimes things are not going to go exactly how we want along the way.
Most of the time they don't. Expect the crap to happen. Oh my goodness. So when it doesn't happen, you rehearse that. Yeah.
So exactly. So I rehearsed this interview, everything going perfectly, right? Like, nothing, no glitches, no technical difficulties. also in my mind, okay, what if the sound drops? What if because it's the internet, right? What if whatever happens?
What if the internet goes out, which we've had internet issues a little bit.
Exactly. Yep. And it's like, yep, I'm still going to show up as, confident, unlocker of magic. It's not going to matter. I'm still going to have the outcome of the people who need to hear this, hearing it, taking exactly what they need and making an amazing change in their life. Like this is my, of course, energy. Of course, that's how it's going to end up. Even if along the way, there's twists and turns.
Yep.
And so we also will learn to, once you've learned how to mentally rehearse the day going exactly how you want it, then you'll learn how to go, yeah, and what if, maybe that doesn't, what you're really rehearsing is who you're being, because this is the only thing that we can control is who we are being, how we are showing up.
Yeah. So when you're in the middle of a webinar and the internet doesn't work, or like webinar jam fails on you, who are you being and how do you handle that? That's happened to so many of our webinars. And it's like you invest $10,000 in a webinar and then webinar jam fails. You have to think quickly on your feet and who are you being in that moment, so you don't lose everybody, because you have to act quickly, right?
Exactly. And so who are you being, and are you being the freak out, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this happened? Like, who are you being? Or are you going, okay, wow, this sucks. Let's take a beat and let's get back to it, right?
Yeah.
Like we get to honor that, circumstances aren't amazing all the time. And sometimes they're downright horrifying. Totally. And we then get to say, okay, now how do I want to show up in this? What will move me forward? What do I get to honor in this? Right. Yeah.
And tip, if that ever happens to you, have a plan B. So ever since that moment, we've always had a backup Zoom, like ready to rock and roll, because it'll happen.
Good advice. Good advice. Yeah. Yeah.
Have the plan B.
Exactly.
What is, so you talked about guided meditations and visualization. Do you have any like apps that you recommend?
I have my own guided meditations that I make.
Oh, there we go. That's perfect. Yeah.
I have a free one.
That's even better.
I have a free one that's mental rehearsal. Yeah. So it's walking them through just a successful day, like seeing themselves successful. And we start to rewire and reprogram our brain to shift into seeing ourselves this way, and listen to it daily. Like I do start my day visualizing how the day is going to be, or how a specific event is going to be, the energy that I'm going to show up in with it. And it really is a difference maker. Your brain will then start to go to those things instead. You create new neural pathways. And guided meditation is one of my favorites because I can get really in my head. And so if I'm sitting there quiet, and I know this about myself, right? All of a sudden I can get out of meditation and start being like, oh, I need to do this. Oh, did I call that person? Did I totally understand that.
Oh yeah.
So guided meditation is really helpful for me because I'm focused then.
So do we get access to that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Where's the link?
It's at mindihuebner.com/meditation2. So I'll give you the link to
we'll put it in the show notes, because every single person needs to go and get that. And how often would you suggest we do that?
I listen daily, honestly.
Every day.
You're going to reprogram your brain. It's under 12 minutes. And I love to do all kinds of meditation in the morning. Okay. Whenever it works for you, maybe you're a lunchtime person. This particular guided meditation, you can also do walking, like driving, but pay attention to driving. It's not a super hypnotic language one, and my other ones are. So those you don't want to do, out moving around, operating heavy machinery like a backhoe or anything like that. But it's helpful to have ones that you can be walking and moving your body to, and then you just start programming your brain that way. And
that's easy. Yeah.
You asked me, like, do I have specific apps? Calm is a really good app. There's Calm and Insight Timer. Both of those are great. They do have free versions. I just have a collection of my own, and then other ones too from other meditators that I really like and enjoy. Find someone whose voice you really like. as well. That's super helpful
Oh
too.
yeah. I've listened to some and I'm like, you're really
Nope.
annoying. I can't
Yeah,
do
I'm like,
this.
nope, click, nope, not gonna happen. Yeah, no.
I love it. I love that we can listen to yours while we're out walking. Cause I think sometimes if you say like 15 minutes, some of us are like, but I got kids and they'll
Yeah.
interrupt me and I can't. But if I can like take the baby in a stroller and go for a walk and do it at the same time, it's like,
Yes.
yes, we can do all the things and make it happen. So
Yes.
I'm totally
Yes.
going to go check that out.
And I will tell
Um,
you that my clients, very specifically, one I'm thinking of in particular, was not a meditator at all. And when she implemented the practice of doing this, she sets a timer so she remembers to do her meditation.
Perfect.
She said it's game changer for her, absolute game changer.
It totally is. When you start doing this and you start visualizing yourself and you start seeing yourself doing it, like I started doing this in high school and like I swear we won the Junior Olympics because all of us saw it ahead of time. Like we visualized
Mental
it every
rehearsal. Yes,
single
yes,
day.
yes, yes.
Like, and it was when it really happened and they put the gold medal around my neck and like it was the craziest thing because I have seen that image in my brain so many times before it really happened. And so like I'm really grateful I had a coach that taught me that at such a young age, but like it works. So
It
see it.
really, and what you'll start to create too, then as you do, as you mentally rehearse, is the desire to act as if. So
Yeah.
be do have in your mental rehearsal, be that woman already and or man. Uh, do the things that that woman or man would do, and then you will have the things. Don't get it backwards, like the world gets it backwards. Oh, once I have enough money, Rachel, I'm gonna invest in my business. I'm gonna invest in a coach. Once I have enough money, I'm gonna, no. Like I hate to break it to you guys. I don't hate to break it to you. I love to break it to you that it doesn't work.
Yes.
It doesn't work that way. You get to be her now. Now, am I saying
Yeah.
go out and invest $1 million when you don't have a dollar? No. You get to start doing things to move you in that direction. You get to act as if now. What would she
Yep.
think? What would that woman think? Who would she surround herself with? What kind of books would she read? How would she spend her time? What kind of food would she put in her body to nourish her entrepreneurial brain? Like you get to start moving in that direction immediately.
Ooh, that's a good one. Write that one down too. Be, do, have, and then ask yourself, who do I need to be in this moment? Who do I need to be in this moment? That's so good. Speaking of books, what's one of the best books that you have read that has impacted you?
Hands down, Atomic Habits.
Ooh.
And now, as soon as I said that, and the second one, hands down, like you got to get both of them, is Limitless by Jim Quick.
Yes. Oh, that one's good too.
It's
Yes.
phenomenal.
Okay.
Like I have it as a reference book. Like
Yeah.
Limitless is Atomic Habits is right there. Like it's right there on the shelf. And Limitless is in my bedroom, right on my nightstand. Like, cause I go back to that one all the time. I use so many techniques from Jim. It's unbelievable. This is not a paid endorsement, although Jim, I
Jim, we need to work together. Let's go.
He is simple things, amazing to really make your brain the limitless machine that it is. Like you just tap into. I know you're a speed reader. I know you're taking a speed reading course.
Yeah.
Jim has this small section in his book, what chapter about upping your reading speed. And I could not believe just from the two things that he said to do. And I'm already a quick reader, not a speed reader, but a quick reader. I couldn't believe how many more I upped my words per minute by like 300 or something crazy.
Yeah.
Just following this one technique. And so it's amazing. It's amazing. Yeah.
Okay. So 2 new books to read. I love it. Where can we connect with you?
Well, my website is mindihuebner.com. I love Instagram. I really like to spend some time on Instagram. And so I'm there at Mindi Huebner as well. You can absolutely connect with me there. And that's probably the platform I like to spend the most time on. I am on Facebook. You'll find me at Mindi Huebner. You'll find me on any of the socials at Mindi Huebner, Huebner. But Instagram is definitely my favorite. So if you want to get to know me a little bit more, hang out in my stories with me.
So Impact Makers assignment for you is to tag both me and Mindi. So me at She's Making an Impact and Mindi, and just let us know what's your biggest takeaway from our conversation today. I would love to know. Mindi, I adore you. Like,
Oh,
y'all listen to Mindi,
appreciate
connect
you
with
so
her.
much.
She practices what she preaches and she's the real deal. And it's just an honor to know you and to be connected. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.